There's something in aviation we don't talk about enough, and that's the responsibility of the flight instructor. Not just to teach, but to protect. In a lot of ways, the role of a flight instructor should look a lot more like the medical profession than a typical training business. Doctors take an oath. It's a commitment that the patients come first. Not profit, not convenience, not ego. And I believe aviation instructors should operate under the same principle. Because what we're really doing is preparing someone to operate a machine that could hurt them if they're not truly ready. This isn't just about passing a test. This is about long-term safety. Here's where things can start to drift. Flight training can begin to look like a transaction. Hours get sold, lessons get scheduled, students move through a system. But students are not commodities, and instructors shouldn't be either. When training becomes transactional, you tend to see two outcomes. Students getting pushed through too quickly, or students stretched out longer than necessary. And both of those are failures of instruction. A good flight instructor adapts. The fundamentals are the same for every student, but the path to get there is not. Some students need more repetition. Some need a different explanation. Some need more time to build confidence. That's not a weakness, it's the process. The responsibility of the instructor is to meet the student where they are and bring them up safely. Not efficiently, not quickly, safely. Here's the standard I believe in. The goal is not to create a pilot who could pass a knowledge test. The goal is not to create a pilot who could pass a check ride. The goal is to create a pilot who is safe, confident, and self-reliant. Because once they leave training, they may not have easy access to an instructor. That's especially true in powered parachutes. And this is where I think the industry sometimes gets it wrong. A check ride is a minimum standard. Real-world flying requires a higher one. So the real question becomes, can this pilot make good decisions when no one is there to help them? This goes both ways. Students have a responsibility too. You should shop for your instructor, not based on price, not just based on location, but based on teaching style, experience, patience, and whether they're willing to adapt to how you learn. Because the right instructor for one person may not be the right instructor for another. And that's exactly how it should be. Good instruction doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel padded. It feels focused. You understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. You're not just repeating steps, you're building judgment. And that's something emphasized heavily in the Aviation Instructor's Handbook. Not just knowledge, but decision-making, risk management, and scenario-based thinking. That's what creates real pilots. If I had to reduce this down to one idea, it would be this. An aviation instructor should operate with an unwritten oath. The student comes first, safety before efficiency, and no one leaves training until they are truly ready. Because once they do, they're on their own. If you're thinking about learning to fly a powered parachute, take your time choosing the right instructor. And if you're an instructor, remember what this role really is. You're not just teaching someone to fly. You're shaping how they'll make decisions for the rest of their flying life. And that responsibility doesn't end at the check ride. And finally, if you're interested in powered parachute flight training, either in the Midwest or in Florida, you can learn more at easyflight.com. I'd enjoy talking with you about your goals and helping you decide if this is the right fit. Thanks so much for watching, and blue skies.